Huklama nanin sakwichisht yuhuathat. My English name's Tyson Tucci, and I'm here to say hello to all my relatives in Ditida. Today we're in Hitatsu. We're in probably the main village of the Ukluit First Nation. Our people have been living here for thousands of years, right down at the beachfront there is the main site of our village. You know, we're spread out all over now, but yeah, we've been here doing the coaches clinic for 2 days, hosting our relatives from Nitnat, and happy to have them here. You know, this is our original beach where we would have welcomed our relatives from Nitnat, right down there by canoe. You know, our traditional way of traveling. Our relatives would have waited out there on the beach, waiting to be accepted onto the beach and into the tribe and hosted. So yeah, that's how we would have done it traditionally, but they're still coming here. You know, I was really excited to see the kids and you know, our visitors from Nitnat, because we're always happy to see our relatives. We still acknowledge them as our relatives. So boy, even during my grandparents' time, they would have still come here by canoe. It still would have, and we would have went there by canoe, so it wasn't that long ago. This is where I get my sense of pride, and I really think that my competitiveness, my family's competitiveness, comes from Nitnat. You know, our family, the Tucci family, we know we migrated from Nitnat. That'll always be my home too. When I go home to Nitnat, that's home. And I know everyone there is my relatives, and I feel safe there. You know, I actually grew up there for a bit. But, you know, I know that we're a really aggressive, warring tribe. And I know that that competitive nature flows through my blood. And I know it comes from there. And, you know, I'm always happy to have that connection. My roots, our roots come from there. I know there's a big difference between, in our language here, we don't have that much B's, or I think we use more M's. Like, say, they would say buich for deer, and we could say muich. So there's some subtleties. My dad grew up there, and he came back speaking Nitnat, and they couldn't understand him here. But yeah, there's some subtleties, but it's pretty similar. They're a little more advanced in Nitnat. Just kidding. Really, my wife Anita took the initiative to reach out there. She's watched me coach, and I've been coaching now for the last 10 years, and really was self-taught. Like, I've had mentors that I looked up to, but Anita realized that there are a lot of new coaches taking on junior teams that needed some assistance, that needed some help to get that guidance to be effective with the kids. Because our coaches on the island are, you know, they're really willing to teach the kids the best they can. So Anita was really the driving force to get them here quick too, you know. So yeah, she kind of deserves all the credit for that. You know, for all of our communities, that, you know, when we do something, and we do it as a community, like when I first started, I was the only coach, and kind of still am, but now that we have younger teenagers willing to learn, now you can start building a program, not just a team, but, you know, 3 or 4 or 5 teams. You have enough people that can come together to run a league and teach kids really effective basketball. So when they do, you know, start playing competitively, they're going to be ready, and it can't be done by one person. It has to be done by a community, a team, you know. So that's why I'm really glad to see younger people coming out to get trained and step up. I think they've been awesome to extend the resources out to get different people here. I think we do need to hear from outside the community. I think, you know, what we've done so far has worked really good, but you always want to bring in new thoughts, new ideas, new approaches to the game, and yeah, they've provided that. I think that's great and really appreciated by the coaches that are especially just starting out, even myself. I'm learning new things and applying it already to my junior team. So yeah, we appreciate it. You know, to our community, sometimes basketball is the only activity for some of our teenagers and kids. There isn't any other activity. That's starting to change now, thank God. But when we first moved home from going to school, there wasn't even basketball, which was amazing to me because I grew up in the gym, like 6 hours a day. It was normal for me. So there was always something to do. It's been cool over the last 10 years since we've been home. You know, there's junior teams, men's teams, ladies teams now. So, you know, basketball's it's one of our way of life. Not just recreation, but there's some spirituality there too, right? So basketball's huge on the coast. I can't wait. Yeah, I think we're not there yet. Our programs we're not even really programs yet, we're just teams. And I think the next step now is developing programs in every community when they're starting at, you know, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then by the time they hit the junior division, they're pretty competitive. And I guarantee you, when we move from just having teams to programs, that, you know, the non-native community is going to come to the native community because they're going to hear about this kid that's dynamite. Not only one kid, 2 or 3 kids that are just awesome. My girls' team, after their first year, they've never played any ball, but after their first year, we played the high school team, and they were all non-native. And we beat them, and beat them convincingly. So, you know, I never think it's the race or creed. It's the talent and the coaching, and that's all we needed. That program, coaching, talent to pull it out of the kids. You know, I can't help but call them my kids. The kids that they coach, they're my kids. Basketball is a real good metaphor for life. You know, what you put into basketball, you get out of basketball. It's the same for life. What you put into life, you get out of life. Like, we teach our kids to be respectful, to focus on ball when you're in the gym. So I've noticed with the kids that stick to it, that can live by those principles that we teach, being respectful, they are happier. And in the end, that's good for everybody. Good for the community, good for the province, good for Canada, good for the world. So I've noticed a huge change in those kids that are stepping up and taking it to heart, eh? Oh yeah, oh definitely. Yeah, man, I always think they just need the leadership, guidance. Community has to pull together, you know, has to support the kids and keep them on track and really teach those healthy things that they have to know to be able to feel confident about stepping away from the village to go compete and come back and bring some new skills back. Oh, you betcha. Yeah, man. You know, I've watched Nit-Nat players on junior playing on other teams instead of playing for Nit-Nat. You know, put together a WIAC team. You know, they could have been provincial champs, but you know, just have to pull it together, pull them back together, and instill that pride, and make them remember that, you know, you have that in your blood. I think they could be provincial champs. I mean, it takes time. You know, it took us about 4 years before we got to that caliber, but there's this wicked competitiveness in Nit-Nat people. In the junior division, you know, I've seen these kids just pop up and get on the floor and compete, and I've never seen them quit once. I mean, they could have been losing by 30, but we're still buzzing competitively. And yeah, to me, the Nit-Nat Hawks, I think within 5 years, top of the bracket, they could be right up there with the best of them. We say chew, but I know at home we say shoe.